Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan podcast by the You Podcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Amir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us, or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
So what are we doing this episode, by the way? And is there any format? I suppose we are trying to keep it short.
Yeah.
These are the apocalypse podcasts now. These are like Jo Chalta Hai, it's Mad Max style, no rules, Jo Dekha Wo Dekha. Like everybody does his own thing and we just I think we just catch up. I missed you guys, even after a week it feels like 3 weeks, although we pretty much chat every other day on Twitter or whatever, but still I think this is more of a mental health check with our friends than anything else now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I was telling another friend, that I didn't realize just how much I needed to go out of the house until somebody told me you can't go out of the house. And now, all I can think about is leaving the house and just I have to go. And not that there's anywhere to go, everything is shut, but it's still
Yeah, I'm very much tempted to go out and just take pictures of absolutely isolated London, but I'm trying not to get tempted by it. And I saw a funny tweet today saying I should have developed some other hobby than going out for a meal.
I saw that one too, yeah.
I saw somebody that posted these photos of a absolutely deserted Bombay, which basically gave me the heebie-jeebies, to be honest, because I've never seen Bombay that empty in my life.
It's like from the 70s koi Amitabh Bachchan ki movie mein you see a shot like that, look how empty Bombay was then.
Even more, even if you watch Chalti Ka Naam Gaadi, there's still people walking on the streets, but this is nothing, absolutely outside the BMC building, which I don't those of you who have not been to Bombay, that intersection is mad. There are more cars and people and bicycles and all kinds of things happening in that intersection.
And people taking selfies and...
because it's also like a heritage building. And it's insane and it's absolutely empty, completely deserted. And somebody was posted all those pictures and they were without people, even Bombay looks like Europe, no? Ha ha ha. And I was you idiot, you do realize that Bombay was basically built by the Portuguese. Of course it looks like Europe. What else would it look like?
Yeah.
Dummy. Anyway.
So we before we started recording, we were talking about how we're craving things that we haven't had in a while. And so you were talking about croissants, right? And I was saying that I just had a croissant, which I honestly don't have as much as I there was when I grew up in Belgium, we used to have these French bakeries next to us, and Belgian bakeries and French bakeries are very similar. I would even say that Belgian bakeries are slightly better. But I have a whole theory about this, but let's not get into that because this is an audio podcast. But we I don't know if you guys had that, but our parents, they didn't have good nutritional how do I say habits? This idea they came from poorer backgrounds or tougher times, so they were just give our kids the best, give them whatever, let them have Coca-Cola, let them have croissants every day, let them have French fries every day. So there was a whole period before I figured out wait, I need to take care of what I'm eating. I would have croissants every other day because the bakery was right next to us. So I'm just saying that's where I come from. I used to eat croissants every day, and now I rarely have them, like once a year, twice a year. But last week I went to a French bakery and got like these amazing croissants, and me and my daughter like ate them, and I really missed that feeling. And yesterday I was at 2 a.m. I was thinking, what shall I make tomorrow? Because I can't go anywhere. I have, that's the only thing, like a hobby I can do. And I was like, should I make, aloo ki samosa chaat? Shall I make this? But then I want to make the best of everything that I can. So I'm like, I want to have like pomegranate seeds if I want to make chaat. Otherwise it doesn't give that like fruity hit in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think I'm just like, we're just focusing our minds on whatever we can as a distraction in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. How are your dietary habits at the moment?
I'm having oatmeal for lunch. That's where I am right now. I have like a 4-liter milk jug that I could not store in the fridge. And I thought it's pretty cold outside, so I'll just store it. And it's gone bad now. So I'm thinking of making paneer out of it. So that's where I'm at.
Can one do that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
That's how paneer is made.
Yeah, it's spoiled milk, basically.
Okay.
I'm quarantined with my parents, and to be honest, like ours is not a very intimate household because generally there's like maids and things like that, and people are coming and going all the time. So usually, like my parents eat one kind of food, my brother eats another kind of food, and I eat another kind of food. So there's like 3 types of meals happening at every meal time in this house, usually speaking. But the thing is, that happens because we have other people doing it, basically. So this has been, it's actually kind of nice. Like, we all are eating the same food. We all come together, and not my dad, but my brother and my mom and I, like we're cooking, we're like doing things that we haven't done in like 20 years. So that's very nice. It reminds me of like, when my mom was trying to teach us how to survive before we went out into the world. So she'd, now we've spent however many years cooking and stuff in our own kitchen. So we come back, and my brother keeps yelling at my mom because he's like, you're doing everything wrong. And she's like, what do you mean? I taught you how to do everything. How can I be wrong?
I'm the OG.
And Mama's very vague at the best of times, and just having the two of us like cluttering up her kitchen while she's trying to work just makes her even more vague. So my brother and I are just like, what are you doing? Because she go to one end, then she'll go to the other end, then she'll get like one pinch of this, and she'll get another pinch of this, and we're just like, what are you doing? And so there's like, but it's still like fun because it kind of reminds us like how much we wanted to leave home when we were 18, and now we are back, and we're like, oh, this is why we don't stay home. There's a bit of that as well.
Yeah, it's almost the end of March, and I was supposed to travel to Delhi on the 10th of April, and so I'm really missing Delhi food right now.
I can't think of it.
Yeah,
I cannot. I was supposed to be in Thailand right now, and it's been like maybe 3 months since I was last in Bangkok. So I had like my entire, like my friends and I, we had our entire like visit planned out. We were going where we were going to go for lunch, where would we go for dinner. Like my entire planner was full of dinner dates and lunch dates and breakfast dates and brunch dates. And now I have like nothing. Like I'm eating like, like roti and sabzi at home. Like... But at least I get to eat that. I'm trying to be positive and like thankful.
My thing is I'm just like so grateful that I know how to cook. Lately I've been thinking this more and more because I don't have necessarily that craving of, I miss that food to go there. Me, it's more like I could just make it myself. I just don't have the ingredients necessarily, or I don't want to use this ingredient for this thing because I might use it for that thing later on. You know what I mean? So
are you guys like mentally rationing stuff as well?
Yes. You would eat like initially like 3/4 or a whole chicken breast. We're definitely at like half a chicken breast now, just because it'll stretch longer. We don't know when we'll have again chicken and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily that we feel we're starving ourselves or anything, because we're definitely not. But it's more about maybe we didn't need as much as we thought we did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also the other thing is we are walking less. So somebody was like, "Oh, you're on quarantine, have a cookie." But it's not just one cookie. You're walking less, you're going out less, and I just feel you need to sometimes fight that urge of sitting on your couch and just eating junk and snack food, because this can go on for a long time, and I would rather come out looking like a modicum of healthy than resort back to what I was a couple of years ago. I don't want to come out like out of quarantine and weigh 130 kilos like I used to be. And so it's kind of like, but these are all personal choices. Everybody should do what they want to do, right? I'm not here to judge. I'm just kind of explaining my thought process about these things. So we're definitely
even like fresh produce and stuff. I try to make because I bought a lot of basil. I cooked like pasta 3 days in a row so that I could consume all the basil leaves and not throw it out. Tomatoes and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Joy, you can freeze it. Freeze it.
Oh.
Yeah, freeze it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Didn't think about that.
The other thing you could do, like somebody on Twitter actually showed this thing that was like, I thought it was brilliant. Basically, get olive oil and then get like whatever herbs you want, like basil or sage, or I think she had like rosemary, thyme, and sage, and she she didn't like fry it. She just like sort of heated it a little bit in olive oil, and then she froze it in ice trays. Yeah. And so like anytime you need to make pasta or something, you can just like put like a couple of those cubes in your pan, and then immediately you have it, and then you don't have to worry about it.
The other thing is I also do is like anything like that, I make the sauce and that I freeze. So with basil, I would make pesto and freeze that. With like tomatoes, I make tomato sauce and then I freeze that. But then I can immediately use it if I want to make either pasta or I want to make like a pizza. So I can just like, break out a chunk and, defrost it and then make it that way. So that really also works for me. But like, and also what I also have, I feel really, really bad when I have to throw food away. Like if it's gone out of date, like we bought way too much hummus, and like there was one and it was just not tasting well anymore. It was like I opened the packet yesterday and the date was 21st of March and I still ate it. Which I would never do before, but today it was like really like, okay, I cannot have it another time, this guy has to go. And I felt really, really bad about it. Like I didn't want to throw away that like 3/4 tub of hummus that I had, but I have like 4 more and they're like all like the deadline is looming when I can eat them. So like there are learnings to be had from this self-isolation quarantine thing.
There was a picture circulating on Twitter, basically all the wheelie bins being filled with, panic buyers basically not able to consume the food, and they were just throwing out like bags of potatoes and bread and bananas and everything that has gone bad. Like, serves you right for losing that money because you basically bought all of that shit.
But I was also reading somewhere that people were saying that a lot of this is because people don't know how to cook again. So they've stockpiled a lot of stuff that they think they can cook. So, pasta, everybody can cook. Eggs, everybody can make. And chicken breast, anybody can grill. But further than that, there's a lot of produce out there. You can still buy, like courgettes and zucchinis and aubergine because people don't know how to cook that or make a decent meal out of that. So in a way, it's kind of an interesting situation for a lot of people. And again, I'm coming back to, I'm so glad that I know how to cook, that I would know what to do with that bread. I would never let bread go back. And again, bread also freezes really well. So, but yeah, it's just there's just no idea how long this is going to go on. That's the kind of the worry.
I think we just have to adapt and learn as fast as we can. There's lots of resources available online, so just people go and whatever you fancy, you have a look at how easily you can make it with minimum ingredients that you need to source.
Another question, Amrita, and you guys, have we started thinking of what you're going to do once this is over? That's a thought that has been kind of popping in my head a lot. Because on the one hand, I don't feel we'll ever go back to the things they were, but on certain level we will, that's just in a way we don't learn as humanity, we don't learn anything. But on the other hand, I was just saying, I think face masks are gonna be a thing from now on in London. Every flu season will start wearing them, hopefully, like they do in Asian countries. But I don't know, have you thought of,
Yeah, I actually thought that maybe people will stop shaking hands. Even after we come out of isolation and quarantine, people are still going to be a little bit worried about the risks of touching people. So I think shaking hands is over, which I'm not mad about. I never really enjoyed, shaking hands. So that's fine. That's fine by me.
Yeah. I'm more of a hug person anyway, and obviously I don't hug anybody in a business meeting. I just hug the people I love. But I don't what would be the business greeting then, though?
The Japanese bow or the namaste.
Yeah,
I think people are just going to learn how to use their words to say hello and goodbye instead of shaking hands.
I do feel like the bow and the namaste has come back. The adab has not made a comeback yet. I think we should bring back the adab. I think that's the other one you can bring back.
The only I don't really use the namaste in daily life, and I think I'd feel sort of like a wanker if I started using the adab, because to me it's like in India especially, the only person I've seen who does it consistently and elegantly is Shah Rukh.
Yeah.
And that's because Shah Rukh has style. I feel like if I did it, I'd look like a clown,
I agree. It is a you need some sort of grace to pull off an adab perfectly. I think there's definitely.
It almost feels like Varun Dhawan in Kalankam. Hashtag most Muslim ever.
Yeah, exactly. You think you're Madhuri, but you're actually Varun Dhawan. That's a meme. So guys, what have you guys been watching to keep yourself busy? I think that's what we're doing. Just to kind of give some context on what we're doing on the podcast, we thought we're gonna check in more with each other, do weekly episodes, but keep them shorter, and just do a little catch up and talk about what we've been watching. And we're still going to be getting some guests on and talking about a movie or a theme, or do a poll or something like that. But we're gonna be just checking in, and I hope you guys listen. And if you don't, it's totally fine too. You have other things to do, but it's more about here. It's almost more about us than about you at the moment. So what have you guys been watching over the last week to kind of keep yourself busy?
So
who wants to go first?
Sujoy.
Okay. So I've kind of divided my time into watching new content. Korean movies, and then rewatching old stuff that I haven't revisited in a very long time. So this week I kind of watched I've been catching up on the season finale of Picard, which was great. I watched a couple of new horror movies as well. Like I watched a Korean movie, The Wailing, which is amazing. The dystopian horror movie, The Platform, which is on Netflix. The Wailing is also on Netflix, and The Platform is a Spanish dystopian movie. I don't know if I would recommend it to watch it in these times, but it's really great. And I watched last night the 90s crime drama called Heat. It's directed by Michael Mann and stars Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, and Ashley Judd. It's amazing. It's aged very, very well. And yeah, if you like a noir drama, crime thriller, action, gangster versus cop kind of thing, then yeah, I would highly recommend you to go back and watch. If you haven't already watched it, go and watch Heat. It's available on Prime Video in the UK, but I'm not sure if it's streaming worldwide on Prime.
Is it an HD print?
Yeah. It is.
It's an HD print.
Yeah. It is. I think it has been remastered. There is already a 4K UHD stuff available on video on demand, but it's not on Prime. But the most surprising thing was by now we have seen a lot of crime drama and gangster thrillers and with a lot of gunfights. The gunfight scenes in Heat are just next level still. Like, it almost feels like the opening bank heist scene in The Dark Knight is a nod to Heat.
Yeah. It was very much inspired from that, right?
Yeah. And the gun sounds are just next level, man. It doesn't feel like it's been recorded and Foley artists were hired to make the sounds look like they were gun sounds, but these are proper ambient gun firing shots, and that just adds a next level what do you call it, a reality to that whole scene. And then there are some really greatly done tense sequences about, it's like a cat and mouse chase about who is going to outsmart each other. There is the overworking policeman and the oversmart gangster lord, and it's great. It's great drama, great action. I'm trying to find out more of 90s movies that I might have watched when I was too young and not able to appreciate it completely, like Casino and Magnolia, all of those. I'm trying to go back and watch those maybe. Yeah.
Can I suggest one if you've not seen it? I don't know if you have, but I think what's great about with Heat is how deep and the minutia of like a bank heist, how specific it is.
Yeah.
And that specificity is something in Ronin with Robert De Niro, but they do that in a car chase.
Okay.
And it's also, I feel, a movie that people didn't appreciate as much when it came out, but it's amazing and it's very underrated and people don't think about it that much. But if you are looking for that like 90s, or it's not even, I'm not even sure, it's maybe late 90s, like specific, bank heist kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ronin is definitely one that you should maybe check out.
Yeah.
So the Wailing you mentioned, that one so the Platform I was gonna watch anyway. That looks really, really interesting because that's really my vibe in terms of horror. I've never really liked. I don't like gory stuff, and I don't like monsters and stuff like that. Like, like Saw and Child's Play and Freddy Krueger. That's never been my thing. But like dystopian horror future, psychological, I really like 1984 and The Cube. I recommended The Cube to you, right? When we were talking about Platform. Snowpiercer, that kind of thing. So that one I'm really, really interested in.
It's got a lot of gore,
I didn't know
though.
It was on Netflix, so... Yeah, but it's fine because it's just probably humans doing shit to humans. It's not like a weird monster. That I can take. Those I'm really, really interested in. I didn't know about The Wailing. I didn't know that was on Netflix.
Yeah,
and that's the director of The Chaser, right?
Yeah. It is. It's really well done. It's got like folk horror elements to it. I don't want to spoil too much. Just go in knowing nothing at all. It's quite a long movie. It's almost like 3 hours, I think it's quite long for a horror movie, but it plays out really well because it establishes elements all throughout. And if you go back, you pick up on, exposition done really well, and then it all pays off in the end. And yeah, it's really, really great. I would highly recommend you to watch it. I wouldn't say anything more.
I think Chaser was remade in Murder 2, by the way.
Yeah.
If you don't know this. So if you really love Murder 2.
Basically, some Indians attended a film festival where they went and they met Hong Jin Na, and they showed them a DVD of Murder 2 and said this was remade from Chaser.
I mean,
I'm sure he appreciated Jacqueline Fernandez's leg lifts, because when I saw her do those leg lifts, I was like, okay, I love this woman. Like in a serial killer movie, you're lifting your leg in these dancing poses. I was like, who is this person? I love her. That was the first time I saw Jacqueline Fernandez, and I was kind of bowled over. I think people are now coming around to her. I saw a few people, and I was like, yeah, this is again Katrina Kaif again, like I've been on this boat for like 10 years, and now you see the amazingness of Jacqueline Fernandez.
Still nobody boarding the hype train for Tashan though.
Yeah, that's me akela on that boat. No, there's a few people.
Speaking of Jacqueline though, have you guys seen the new Bacha video of Genda Pool?
yes.
What are your thoughts, Amrita?
So is Jacqueline just making music videos for T-series? Is that her new career now?
It's not even T-series though.
What is it?
It's like, I think Sony Music.
Huh. Because I've seen her like in other music videos of late, right? Like she did something else that like made me like go slightly insane. What was it? Like just like a remix of something old. Like it didn't even make sense.
Yeah,
like,
with that guy from Big Brother, right? My namesake from the Big Brother. No, what's it called?
That's
Big Boss.
guy.
Big Boss. It's called.
Oh, that's the guy, is it? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, Asim.
Yeah,
It's
the lesser Asim. The lesser Asim.
The one where she's like a princess, and then she does this time travel thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, like Jacqueline is apparently just like, she's just destroying everybody's childhood these days. I think that's what she's doing.
But do you guys remember, like, I think like a couple of, like when they were starting the promos for her Netflix movie with Shrish Kundar, Mrs. Serial Killer, she did an interview with Anupama Chopra then that she had gone to New York and she'd done some acting academy. We talked about this a couple of episodes ago, and that she was gonna she wanted to do like take a different route in her career and do something different. And it's like a year later and she's just doing this. I think obviously it's just to pay the bills, but I wonder it's also like, if she came back with these good intentions and wanted to do different things, if filmmakers and people that are building these projects are even offering it to her, And I think this was also a problem with Katrina Kaif for a while, that the projects were just not there. I don't know what it is, but it is, she looks great. She dances great. I don't know what else I can add. I still hate Bacha. It's once you figure out his trick, all the songs are the same, and it's very like from somebody who loves hip hop.
He has a trick.
He has a trick. Have I?
It's like literally like Baba Black Sheep said to like hip hop rhythms.
Yeah.
Matak, satak, I know. Oh.
Yeah. So his trick is start with a nursery rhyme adapted with sexual objectification, add a Punjabi word in it, repeat the chorus. That's how all Badshah songs go. And it's like this second or third verse will always have like an English word in it where it shouldn't be, and usually it's from a nursery rhyme, so it'll be like nekkar or like swag or something like that. So that's how Badshah rhymes work. I could really write one on the fly. Maybe I can do that next
Maybe I should come up with an algorithm, just put some random words in and it will turn that into a Badshah rhyme.
Yeah, 100%. He just go to like which nursery rhyme has not been done yet. Take that, because he's done like Johnny Yes Papa and all these kind of things. He's already like literally done those in his rap. So just pick one that we like, Baba Black Sheep or something like that, and you can make a Badshah rhyme very easily. It's sad. I don't know. I didn't even finish the clip, and even Jacqueline couldn't make me finish the clip. So I did watch the other one with the lesser Asim. That one I did finish because like obviously because he's tagged, we have the same name, and I don't watch Big Boss, it's called, right, that show?
Yeah.
So it was like funny, a lot of people were talking Asim. So I was like, who is this Asim? So this is like the first thing he's done after the Big Boss. So I was like, what does this guy do? And I still don't know what this guy does. I thought he was a dancer, but he doesn't dance in the clip. So I don't know. He just has abs apparently and like hair or something like that. So both things that I don't have. So I mean, I cannot, I can't say something about that. But like, it's like, do you guys watch Big Boss?
No.
No, because people seem to say like.
We have a lot of friends on Twitter who do watch Big Boss, though.
Yeah. But no, I want to, like, because I see people say he won Big Boss or he played the game really well. These are the, like, phrases I hear, and I don't understand what the game is and how you can play it well. Like, what, like, don't they just sit in a house and then have challenges and then that's it? Like,
I mean,
that's Big Boss, right?
The entire world is in Big Boss right now, so I don't think that there is a point to us watching it anymore.
Yeah. Because I watched Big Brother when it came out, like the first seasons where I know I was maybe in Belgium when it came out. Like the show has been going on for a long time, right?
Yeah.
But I never got back to it. Like I don't watch reality TV at all. So it's funny that people are still so excited about Big Boss in India. I don't get it. So I was hoping you guys could explain it, but you guys are useless.
We're too videshi for, we are like the Indian burger chop. So
we're snobby, elitist, pseudo-liberal. What else? Pseudo-intellectual.
Yeah.
Okay, Amrita, what have you been watching?
So mostly I've just been watching Agatha Christie's Poirot. Like that's basically it.
You're still on that trip from last week.
No, I'm and like they're throttling the internet speeds in India for whatever reason. So because I guess everyone is working from home, so it's really hard to get like things. I mean, you can still get crime and things to work, but it's a bit of a pain just to get things to buffer through. So the only thing that works really well is YouTube, because YouTube will work, really well and pretty much the lowest speeds possible. So I've been just watching like what I suppose are illegally uploaded Agatha Christie, like not just Poirot, but also Miss Marple and all the other stuff on there. But that's what I've been doing. And then I also watched Emma, the new Emma, starring Anna Taylor-Joy, which is, I really like it because it's age-appropriate people. My favorite version is still the one with Romola Garai and Johnny Lee Miller, but this one is more age-appropriate and I really enjoy it. And I think there's going to be a generation of young women who are going to fall in love with Mr. Knightley. And I think, like, I'm a little bit mad on Johnny Lee Miller's behalf because he was adorable, but I know, like, a lot of girls are going to find, like, this version the definitive one. probably even as good as the Colin Firth. Like, you know how like everyone still thinks of Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy? I think maybe this guy's gonna get a little big breakthrough for Mr. Knightley, which is fine because Mr. Knightley is actually a rather unproblematic male lead, which is rare in rom-coms of that nature. So that's fine. But mostly I've been reading. I've just been reading really old classics. I've been rereading. So I've mentioned this before, like since the start of the year, all I've wanted to do is read romance and fantasy. So right now, for the past week, I was just reading fantasy books. So, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. So if anybody's interested in what I'm reading right now and you like fantasy, then I am right now rereading through the Rift Wars saga by Raymond E. Feist, who is very old school fantasy, which is what I enjoy. You know, there's like magic but this one is not really like magic. It's sort of like pseudo science fiction / fantasy. It's very like if you like Dungeons and Dragons kind of a thing, then these are novels that you would really like. So I've been rereading that, and then I have been like things like that really. And then I found like a couple of new authors that I'm really interested to check out. If you're interested, then I'm happy to put up a list. So you should write in to Asim and let us know, and I will put up a list.
Yeah. How do you read? Are you reading digitally or are you getting like hardback, paperback still books? Like how do you?
So I love physical books, but it's generally more convenient given my lifestyle to just read it on the Kindle or on the Kindle app. So if I'm outside, like if I'm just, around the city or something, and say if I'm taking the metro or something, then I'm usually on my phone and I'm reading it on the Kindle app. Or if I'm traveling, or if I'm at home, then I usually have my Kindle out. So, yeah.
Yeah, because that's my other thing. Like, because also in a way you want to avoid, like Amazon is quite booked already. Like like everybody, and you also don't want to burden them with more deliveries. In a way, I don't even want delivery guys to come out and deliver stuff. Yeah. So, and I also like physical books. I don't even have a Kindle. So I was just thinking, I need to start reading the books that I have at home before I start ordering new, because I don't know if you have that, but I just end up buying more and more books and not reading necessarily. And now is a time where you should, remember why I actually bought this book, because I thought it was interesting. And so there's still a pile that I have so I started with and I don't. How do you pick books? That's a question that I kind of come back to a lot. Like, what's your, how do you do you go by author? Do you go by genre? Like, how do you pick a new book?
So the thing that you should know about me is I read very fast and I read a lot, and I have, like right now, this is actually a bit of a departure for me, the fact that I'm just reading these two genres all the time, because generally I read everything. Like there's very few things that I will not read. So my general strategy is, if somebody has given me a recommendation before and that recommendation has worked out for me, then I will always take their word for it. And even if, the odd book doesn't work out, generally speaking, if somebody is able to give you at least 2 or 3 good recommendations, then you can generally at least check out whatever it is that they're giving you. Secondly, so when I find an author that I like, I read everything by them. Everything. And I look for authors that So there are two things that I do. One, I look at the Amazon suggests, because Amazon is actually, they're crap at their Prime algorithms, but their book recommendation algorithms are actually really good. Like, they are very good in figuring out which is a good similar match in terms of genre or writing style or whatever.
You almost forget that Amazon was initially a book selling website, right?
So when you go back to their original, niche, they're actually really good at it, and that's I guess why they became so popular.
Yeah, basically, Amazon is like a desi mom making Italian food now. When you go back to her dal khichdi, then it's like, right, this is what she's good at.
And we come back full circle to food.
Always.
Oh god.
So I've discovered quite a few new authors that way. And when you do, another thing that I really like is I like reading the blurb. Sometimes the blurb overpromises you things, I won't lie. But generally, if you read the blurb and you immediately think, ooh, this sounds interesting, then my enthusiasm for that will just sort of carry me through like the first few chapters at least. And by that time, I'll know if the book is, has captured my interest or not.
Blurb meaning the synopsis of the book, or like the other authors talking about how amazing this book is?
No, the synopsis of the book.
Right.
Another thing that's really great is Goodreads, which is this website. Like, if, those of you who are listening, if you don't know, then there's a website that will rate books based on people's reviews.
It's like Letterboxd, but books for books, right?
Exactly. Letterboxd, but for books. And it's really great because you'll have, like, it's become a publicity and marketing tool for authors. And so you'll have authors on Goodreads, like, even if they don't have a Twitter account or if they don't maintain their web pages, that's fine, because at least 80% of the authors that are publishing today will be on Goodreads, and they will be interacting with their fans or posting information about their books. So it's a really great way to, like, if you go on Goodreads and you find an author that you really enjoy and you go to their page, even if they don't have anything new, sometimes they'll put up things like what they're reading and their ratings of the books that they have read. So if, say, Asim is like a really favorite author of mine, and I go to his Goodreads account and I check, like, what is he reading? And he says that he's reading Sujoy's book and he's rating it 5 stars. Then it's a pretty good bet that since Asim is writing a book that I really like, Asim's taste in books probably matches mine. Because people generally, like, it's very rare for authors to write things that they don't themselves enjoy. Mm-hmm. So if you find somebody who's writing, like fantasy, then they're probably reading a lot of fantasy as well. And so when they give you recommendations on fantasy, if you like the fantasy that they are writing, then you will probably like the ones that they're recommending as well. That's a really good way of finding out new books as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really helpful. I always find it fascinating because I had a certain way of doing things on picking books, and it doesn't work for me anymore. And I'm trying to find a new way to do it, and I'm struggling. Like, it's I'm not reading as much as I wish I could, and I miss it. And the other thing is also because we moved into this apartment. Like, it's been 2 years, but I still haven't set up like a reading place where I can read at night. Like, the lighting isn't correct and stuff like that. And I feel that's also kind of hampering my reading. But how I used to do it is I used to get 3 books at a time. So one would be a non-fiction book. One would be a fiction book in a genre that I'm kind of feeling, be it fantasy, be it historic, or like a writer that I like. I used to have a phase where I was really into like nihilistic writing. There's a Belgian author called Herman Brusselmans that I really loved, and he was kind of like Bret Easton Ellis, but Belgian. And I read like all of his book at that time. And then I was also get like an easy read, be it like, like easy digestible facts or graphic novels and things like that. So I would read all of them simultaneously. But since life has kind of moved on and I'm a dad and other things like that, I can't, finish one book, let alone one book, let's forget 3 at the same time. So that's why they just kind of end up stacking one on top of the other. So at the moment I'm reading Saga, which is like a graphic novel by Brian K. Vaughan.
I love it.
Which I love that one. It's so good. I'm still like, I got like one of those really fat tomes. Like it's like at least like 5 kilos or something like that. It's called Book One. And it's beautiful. Like it's beautifully drawn. I love the story of it. I'm not that far. It is quite graphic, and I need to hide it from my daughter, because if she just like skims through it, I'm like, oh my god, so I kind of like hide it, and I'm like wondering, if I finish this book, shall I keep it or shall I just give it away, because I don't want her to skim through it or anything like that. But it's really, really nice. The other one I'm also reading, and this was one I went into the bookstore and I was just like feeling like I want something like Game of Thrones-ish. Like that was the idea I had when I went in, and I got Book of Dust by Philip Pullman, La Belle Sauvage, Volume 1. And this is a problem I've done this like 4 times now. In the 4 last times I bought a book, I've bought from a series that I didn't know was a series, and I bought like the second series and not read the first series. And they seem to like not explain things well, because obviously you should have read the previous parts, and I've not read them, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, so I'm really struggling with this book, because clearly like Philip Pullman is a very well-known author, right? Like, and apparently this was a spin-off from Dark Materials, which I've not read. So I'm like totally lost. And then the Dark Material ended up on BBC iPlayer. So I was like, should I watch this? And it's about the character that's like a teenager, but this series is about when she was a baby. So I was like, I'm like totally lost. And I'm like, they're talking about demons, and I'm like, and I'm losing interest. I can feel I'm losing interest. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle, that book. So I'm gonna finish it, but I don't know if I'm really enjoying it, and that's what then hampers your reading, right? When you're struggling through a book and it's not as fun as it could be.
His Dark Materials is probably like one of the classics of the genre. Like, it's a book that I really enjoy, but if you really do need to read that first. Like, nothing in the Book of Dust will make any sense unless you understand like from where the dust, the whole explanation for dust is from his Dark Materials. Unless you get that straight, I really don't see how you're going to like
I might just watch the show on iPlayer and then read the rest of the book. That might be another option, but it's a struggle, that one. So but I am watching also stuff on TV. Maybe I can go quickly over that. It's interesting what you were saying about YouTube, right? Because I don't know, we were talking about Mukul Anand a few weeks ago on Twitter. I don't know, when we were talking about Das, I think, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I really like all of. And you also, Sujoy, you were on the Movie Wala podcast, right? And you watched Agnipath.
Yeah.
So the name was kind of in my head. And then when we were talking about Sajan last time, Hum was another movie, and I was just saying how much Hum is better than Sajan. So the name Mukul Anand has just been in my mind lately, and I was like, man, he made other movies. Oh, so the other reference was Jui Chawla's interview. She was talking about Sultanat, which is also his movie. So definitely he was like playing around in my head, and I was like, wow, there's other movies of him that I have not seen. So I wanted to go back and see what else he did, and one that stood out to me was Insaf with Vinod Khanna, which I've never seen, and I was like, I kind of want to watch that.
Wait,
and
is that
I don't know.
The one,
yeah,
is
go
that
ahead.
the one with Sridevi?
This is with Dimple Kapadi, I think,
Okay,
if
never
I'm not
mind.
mistaken.
Okay.
So I just like, okay, I'll check Prime, it's not on there. I checked Netflix, it's not on there. I was, okay, I'll go to YouTube, and it's such a bad print. It's like zoomed into like a small section of the screen, and it's just impossible to watch. And I just watched like 3 minutes and I gave up, and I was like so sad that I can't find a print of this movie. Like there's a movie of this filmmaker that I enjoy. I want to like find more of his stuff, and it's just impossible. The only thing I could find were HD prints of the songs, but not the movie itself. So they had it on Shemaru and they had it on Venus, but they don't have the movie anywhere. And it's sad, right? Like, it's such a sad thing that the filmmaker is gone, but his whole legacy, his whole filmography is not, we can't find it anymore. And yeah, it just kind of made me sad. Like, I couldn't watch what I wanted to watch on YouTube, unfortunately. So if anybody knows where I can find prints of Mukul Anand movies, please drop me a line at youpodcasting@gmail.com. But I have been watching a few other things. I watched one episode of Ugly Delicious, bringing it back to food, which is the Dave Chang show. Do you guys watch Ugly Delicious?
I used to.
I've seen the first season, and I really want to watch the second season, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, so I just watched one episode, which is the Desi food episode. I watched, and it has Padma Lakshmi, I think she's called. Aziz Ansari is in it. Floyd Cardos, right? The chef that passed away. And it also has what's her name? Priya Krishnan. She's from Krishna from is it called Bon Appetit, right? The YouTube channel, and she ends up burning everything, which I find hilarious. So it's about Indian food and how Dave Chang doesn't know anything about Indian food, and goes through this journey about re-educating and why Indian food has not broken through the way Mexican food has or French food has, and it's quite interesting. I don't think they come to a real conclusion yet, but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of base level for it is really for outsiders getting into understanding what Indian food is, but it's a nice little food documentary, and I was happy to see Aziz Ansari's parents in it because I kind of love those two, but they're in it for like 4 or 5 minutes, and Aziz Ansari, man, he's rocked, man. He's not the same guy anymore. You can really see it, like and I think we spoke about this, or I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but when he did his stand-up show. But the Me Too thing that happened with him, it's like permanently changed him. It's weird to see such a big change in a person. The episode is really, really good. So I can kind of recommend that. I want to go watch the rest of it. I watched 2 shows quickly. I'll talk about because I'm sure nobody watches them, but they're really, really good. They're both streaming on Hulu. One is called Stumptown. Have you guys heard of this show?
I've seen the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. So it stars Kobe Smulders from
How I Met.
How I Met
Your Mother, and Friends from College, and lots of other things, and Marvel movies. It stars Jake Johnson from New Girl, and it's honestly, you would think it's like a serial dad show in a way, right? Like a problem of the week detective show, but it is based on a graphic novel. And if you give it a chance, it's so engrossing. Once you get the hang of these characters, it's a show I look forward to every week, and I feel not enough people are talking about it, and not enough people are giving it enough credit, because it's the format that like a format we've seen a lot of. and it does take a while and a bit of investment to get going, and I think people will switch off quite quickly. But if you give it a shot, it's a really engrossing story, and the character of Dex Parios, who's kind of this traumatized war vet that now becomes a private investigator. It's a show because the performances are so good, and the characters, the people playing those characters are so likable, especially if you like them from their previous shows. Like, I love New Girl, I love How I Met Your Mother. So you kind of give it a bit more credit, and I think it's a really, really good show. So, and it's kind of a light-hearted, what my old co-host Ahmed used to say on New Podcast, a sandwich show, a show that you can watch while you're having a sandwich, and it's that kind of show, but it's really, really good. So I can really recommend, if you can watch Stumptown and you do have time, check that out, because it's quite good. The other show I'm really enjoying is also streaming on Hulu, which is Devs. Did I talk about Devs with you guys earlier?
No.
No.
So it's created by Alex Garland, who did Annihilation, 28 Days Later, Ex Machina, and Sunshine, if you guys remember that one. So he's really into kind of like sci-fi dystopian kind of movies, and it's about so the plot is a computer engineer investigates a secret development division in her company, which she believes is behind the disappearance of her boyfriend. And it creates this kind of company. It's kind of like Facebook. It's kind of like Google, but it's definitely hacked into some future technology that we don't have. And it's also very dangerous. So, it's also kind of plays out on the idea of how far innovation can take us without losing our morality. There's this idea about people that are creators like Steve Jobs or, like Mark Zuckerberg, or even Elon Musk, where they're not the greatest of people, but because they are able to invent something that is so good or productive or create so much money for the world that we kind of let other things slide. And this is not a new phenomenon, right? This has gone throughout history through musicians and artists, that they've done some really horrible things, but they've also created this amazing piece of art, and then we just remember that art, be it Pablo Picasso or whoever. And it kind of deals with that kind of thing, but it also has this future technology in it, like they did with Ex Machina, which is just such an interesting mix. And it's quite slow burning, and it's very like it gives you anxiety the way it's done, but it's beautifully shot. The future technology and this company that they've created, it has this tragic backstory, and it has this this beautifully rendered computer design and building design. It's really a sight to behold, and it's kind of taking its time to reveal the central mystery about what this company is actually doing, but it's very interesting. And I was watching it with my wife, and she was like, yeah, you just like it because it's for really smart people. And I was like, yeah, I think it's one of those shows that smart people, or people that think they're smart people, are like, have you seen Devs? So I'm totally being a cliche and a stereotype, but have you guys seen Devs? Like, it's that kind of show.
But it does remind me of like Jurassic Park in a way, when there's a quote by Jeff Goldblum playing Ian Malcolm, and he says like something on the lines of, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's it. So those are like two quick recommends. What I did a deep dive in, which and this was really for like hashtag content that I did this. I watched all of She, the new Netflix show.
Okay.
I don't think even I told you guys that I was watching this.
No.
So this is wait, let me just pull up the the IMDb thing, because these are like all okay. So this is it's tagged as Imtiaz Ali as a creator. So he's not directed anything. He's not. I think he wrote something with another. He wrote something with Divya Jory. I think she's the one that's and Anuja Gondahilkar. Sorry for mispronouncing, but that's my thing. So the plot summary is an undercover assignment to expose a drug ring becomes a timid Mumbai constable's road to empowerment as she realizes her dormant sexuality's potential. And dear Lord, yes, that is the right reaction that you're giving. What Amrita, what does that make you think of? Like, let's get this reaction info.
It makes me want to turn everything off.
Yeah. Why?
First of all, it sounds like really bad porn. Secondly, it's like if there's anybody that I would trust with like empowerment, like sexual empowerment, it would not be Imtiaz Ali. Like that would be like, because this is a guy that wrote Cocktail. Let's not forget. Like that's not like no. No.
Yeah.
So this whole thing just says no to me.
Remember the time? Remember the time Asim used to make fun of Cocktail and call it Cockfail?
The classic Asim jokes. Yeah, so Amrita, you're bang on the money. You've exactly pinpointed all of the issues with this project, and it's like, I think it has some. I was going to say it has some good intentions, but I would say it has some intentions, but it doesn't successfully execute any of those, and it is about this sexual awakening, I guess, but it's so messily done, and also just because the sexual mores of our culture are so restrictive, you cannot explore these themes without, I think he wants to be, what's that nymphomaniac director? Lars von Trier, like that kind of thing. That's what he wants to be, but he's restricted by the culture. He's also restricted by, the actors and what they would want to do. And it's this weird idea of male gaziness and titillation trying to make a point, and it's so haphazardly made that you don't even reach the point that he wants to make.
When you said nymphomaniac director, I thought that was too generic. I was like, Lawrence D'Souza, Indra Kumar, Subhash Ghai,
Ram Gopal Verma.
No, I meant the movie Nymphomaniac. I know. So yeah. It stars Aditi Pohankar, it stars Vijay Verma, and a guy named Vishwas Kini who plays like the lead detective. And guys, it's so funny because he feels like 80% Amit Saad and 15% Biswa Kalyan. Like he's like a combination of those two, and once you have those thoughts in your mind, you cannot leave it constantly in your mind. And this whole, it's such a weird show because this whole show is about how making us believe that this actress Aditi Pohankar is an ugly woman, like she's not an attractive woman, which is this objectively absurd because she's beautiful. And they try to make her like, oh, she's just like this Gaudi kind of put upon constable living in a slum, but she's like Janhvi Kapoor light. She's like a super beautiful actress. So, and everybody in the show is kind of putting her down, and there's this idea about only I can see this demon in you, the real fire in you. They call it the scorpion in her, the bichu in her, and it's really like disgusting. Like it's not like it made me feel like dirty, but it also has this kind of watchability. Like, I think what you remember when you were talking about these Ekta Kapoor shows that have this kind of sexuality? I think this is what they're going for, that kind of messy sexuality, but making it a bit more glossy because it's on Netflix and being a bit more prestige, but nobody involved has any of the talent that prestige drama needs, especially not Imtiaz Ali and his crew. And I was kind of hoping that this might be a new, Imtiaz Ali's movies have not been good in the last few years, and I thought maybe this change of format or this, giving him more freedom will, bring something out of him, give us the old Imtiaz Ali, and it doesn't at all. It's not quite good.
I mean, the problem is not in the problem is not in the format.
Yeah, it is not. It's. I think Imtiaz has just kind of lost the plot, and I think it's like, he writes great female characters, and that's kind of the storyline he had for the last initially his career. And I think we have discussed this before, that I think he does not get women at all anymore, and it's quite frustrating to see. And it's also weird because it is about female empowerment through sexuality, but it is also like the male gaziness and the titillation of it is it's very weird, because this undercover constable, this constable is sent into an undercover mission as a prostitute to capture these gangsters, and she gets put into these very, very sexually dangerous positions. And then in that moment where you should have dread, there is titillation. And that's just messed up, man. That, like, pick a lane, like what you're trying to do. And then that sexual aggression and danger starts making her awakening her sexual desires. So it's all kind of screwed up. It's like, it's as bad as I'm trying to explain it, like really badly, because the show explains things really badly. And even the plot mechanics of her being put into the position of going undercover or then interrogating this gangster is done, like, the plot mechanics are so bad. It's so badly written, like it doesn't make any sense. And Vijay Verma is trying to do like this Kaiser Soze kind of thing. I think he's a very very watchable actor, and I think he's in a very tough position. And weirdly enough, this makes me think of that interview that Rajiv Masin did with Artik Karyan, bringing him back, podcast favorite Artik Karyan, where he was asking him, do you feel you're getting typecast? And he said something. He said, like, I've been working to get cast for the last 10 years. If this is working for me, I want to kind of milk it as much as I can. And I think this is also the problem with Vijay Verma. Like, he's very much like, people appreciated him for that gully boy, street smart Londa kind of character. And this is like the fourth time he's doing it. He did the same thing in Baghi 3, and he's doing kind of the same thing in this show. And it's a tough situation because these actors have been working for so long to get any semblance of the limelight, but now they keep getting the same roles every time with slightly different shades. And I don't know if they have the choice to, just say, no, I don't want to do this, I want to do something else, or they need to cash out because this might be their only opportunity, unless, the public interest kind of moves on to something else. So he is I do think he's probably the most watchable character. I also really like Aditi Poinkar in this, for a role that is written like for a woman, like Madhur Bandarkar level bad, but she is really good in it. And it's an actress that I had not noticed before, and she has been in what's it called, Lal Bhari, which I've not seen, and she was also in LSD, which I don't remember her in that movie. So she has been working for a long time, and it is cool that this can maybe be a jumping off point for these actors to do better things. But she is a messy watch. So I think if you are that audience of seedy, kind of sexual Ekta Kapoor shows, and you want a little bit more prestige to it, maybe She is something for you. And if you have watched it, let me know. Maybe I just have a totally misreading of this and I didn't understand the show at all. And it also kind of clearly is building up towards a season 2. Like, the story is not done after season 1 and it's only 7 episodes. But even I don't know if I even want to. They built up enough momentum for me to want to watch season 2. So overall, I don't think the show worked for me, at least. So yeah, it's messy, man. She is a really, really messy show. But hashtag content, I needed to do something Bollywood related. Yeah.
I mean, I watched something as well on the lines of like Desi content. It's on Prime, a show called Afsos. It's written by a stand-up guy, Anirban Dasgupta, with another co-writer called, I can't exactly remember the name, but it's directed by Anurag Kashyap's sister, Anubhuti Kashyap. It's just 8 episodes and 30-minute long episodes. It stars Gulshan Devaiya from Mard Ko Dard and Shaitan and all of that. And it's quite an interesting story. It's kind of like a black comedy, and it has really quirky characters, but it suffers from some problems of like trying to bite more than it can chew. But I think as a whole, the season comes together in the end. Even if you look at the climax to be either open, there is a possibility of season 2. But even if not, then the whole season sort of wraps the entire story in a sort of satisfactory way, I would like to say. It's better than mediocre. Let's just put it there.
Right. Yeah, I think we spoke about this, that Prime is doing a much better job on, Desi content than Netflix is. And I've heard a lot about Afsos.
It kind of suffers from like lack of budget, because some of the scenes just look a bit cheap in production quality. Like, there is a police shootout scene which just looks straight from 80s Bollywood. I don't know if it was played for laughs or they were actually serious about the shootout. But I mean, Netflix has done that better in like Sacred Games or whatever, but I thought it would have gained more if there was a bit more money put into the production. But it's I think adapted from a Bengali short story, and it's really good. Well, I wouldn't say it's really good, but it's better than mediocre, which is most of Indian content coming out of Netflix.
Yeah, and coming back to She, I do think the production values, the way it's shot, like, it's really well done, like much better than Amazon shows, and like they really give that vibe of that seedy underbelly of like prostitution and all that, and like Kohli's there, like also just the vibe of low level cops, the bureaucracy of it really gives like a good impression of how it probably really is. But I do think it's the problem with Netflix is the way they're selecting who they're working with and the projects they're greenlighting more than anything. The budget is there, but there's something wrong with the filter that they have, which Amazon has a better filter, but they're not putting enough resource and budget in it. So it's kind of interesting how there's like a flip side between those two streaming services.
But it would be weird because there is a lull going to be, because of the whole coronavirus quarantine. All sort of content creation is on a halt, so we won't be getting any new content.
Yeah, although there's a backlog of stuff that has been directed and was ready to release and it hasn't, right? And, so that we'll also be getting. But like, I was wondering yesterday about Made in Heaven season 2. I don't hear anything about that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't supposed to come out this year or something like that. I don't think they've even shot anything. And there was this idea about a Gully Boy spin-off. Remember that? And nothing heard from that either. Like, what are Farhan Akhtar and Zoe Akhtar doing, man? Like, why are they not working? They're just chilling out in their cool houses. I think this is it for this episode. No, unless you guys want to talk about anything else?
No.
Amrita, you still there?
Yeah. I'm still here. Just listening to you guys.
No. Yeah, I think we weren't wanting to do something shorter, so I think we're slightly shorter. We still ended up being an hour. So, I hope this was fun for you guys. We're bringing back Pitu, right? Next episode? That's what we're doing?
Yes.
on public demand. So that will be fun. I know for a guarantee that will be fun. We're talking about Mela. I think a lot of people asked for that movie, and I hope that will bring some cheer and joy in people's life. And Amrita, she didn't want two Amir Khans. She wanted not one Amir Khan, but she has two now. So Faisal and Amir. So what more can Amrita want, right? So like this quarantine wasn't tough enough for us. I think that's it for this episode. Amrita, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ.
Sujoy?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at 9e3k.
And I'm at Asim Bernie. And you've been listening to the Khandaan podcast. Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. And do let us know if you are listening. I got some really nice messages because it does seem listenership has dropped. So, I mean, I just want to know if people are still listening or not, or we can take a break, if nobody's listening anyway. But I think it's just fun to, chat with my friends here and have other friends on. So, drop us a note in any case. And everybody stay safe, please. Don't go out. Don't go out.
Wash your hands.
Okay.
Wash
Thanks
your
for
hands.
listening, guys.